So we're bringing on our next guest, and his name is Victor McGlothin. Victor has been on the show before, but it was in the early, we could say the early days of the show. He was, I think he was on in 2021 or maybe even 2020. And he hasn't been on since then, but he has a new book. So we wanted to bring him back on to talk about this. And I think this is a new topic, although he kind of talked about this topic in his novels as fiction. This is a nonfiction book on this topic of dating. So, Victor, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you very much for having me on, Gwen. Is that Sister Lawson in the house?
Yeah.
Oh, you got some of us. That's my favorite right there.
It's good to see you again.
It is. It is. I thought it would be in person by now, but we'll work on that.
Yeah, we do have to work on that because we've been trying to do that for years.
Yeah, well, he was at the festival. I remember the year you were there, there was a football game, there was a homecoming game that weekend. So you had to kind of sneak out.
Yeah.
And that was before COVID. So that's been it was either 2019 or 2018. So that's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's time to do that again.
Yeah, it is. So your new book, Rules for Slaying the Dating Games. Now, what made you do a relationship book?
Well, both of y'all have been around me enough to know, and Rhonda especially, I put a lot of relationships in my books. And then during the discussion at the book club meetings, the women's group meetings, or what have you, there'll always be, some woman or several women saying, I really like the way you put them together. Even when they hit rocky times, they figured it out, they talked through it, or they didn't, and this is why or why not. So now that we've read the book and we feel like we know you, because you know how people do, when they read their book, they feel like they know you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a situation, or my girlfriend has a situation, or my cousin has a situation, and her man isn't acting right, or she can't get him to do this, or whatever. Whether it's he can't please her in bed, or the way that they met weren't necessarily to her liking. There was something wrong with it, and so we just talk about it. And what I've learned is, over doing this over 25 years, is there are a lot of Black women who really don't have a guy that they can go to and talk to about anything, especially be vulnerable and be very trusting, without the guy maybe coming back later using it against them, or the guy who wants to sleep with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm just a dude who shows up, who happens to know a lot about relationships and how they intertwine and so forth. So I'm safe. I'm safe space.
Okay, now speaking of safe space, I think a lot of women have issues with relationship books, because especially when they're written by men, because the man is always basically telling the woman everything that she's doing wrong. Right. and basically talking down to her and saying, this is why you ain't got no man. But they try to disguise it in a way where they're trying to give them advice, and it seems like they're actually being criticized.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there is 603 rules in this book. There's 55 chapters and 14 sections, and it's a very quick read. It's only 200 and some pages. And you won't find in there once to say, don't do this, you're doing this wrong. I only offer suggestions, very strong suggestions on perhaps you might want to consider doing it this way. Mm-hmm. And some women have said, you know what, I've been on the dating scene for a while. I've gotten divorced. I was in a long relationship, or I've never been married and I want to get married. I want to increase my chances and my odds of being in a serious relationship. I want to find my soulmate. And so after having those discussions for 25 years, I said, it's time for me to stop answering all these questions in my DM and actually put it in a book. So I actually put it in a book. And so, you have it, there's breakout sections. There's everything from dating interracially. There's rules for dating a younger man, an older man, a man with money, a thrifty Romeo, or a quote unquote broke dude, but not all of them are broke.
What? A thrifty Romeo?
I know I've never heard it put exactly like that. But okay, because how do you define a thrifty Romeo?
Yeah, in the book, it talks about guys who don't necessarily either have the funds or want to share their funds right away. You know, they might want to meet at
So a cheap
Starbucks.
dude.
See, no, there you go.
Okay, now I'm playing with you, Victor. I just said that to be funny.
But I'm glad
It's
you
good.
don't.
It's good for a man to be frugal. You really, really, a woman may not realize this at the time, but if he's frugal, now I don't mean cheap, but he just watches his money and he's just not just throwing money at you, like unless he's got like he's a millionaire, that's different.
Yeah.
But if he's a regular guy, he should be watching his pennies. And if
Yeah.
he's not, that's gonna be a problem later on. You might think he's doing, y'all are having fun and going out, doing stuff, but underneath the surface, the dude's irresponsible.
And it shows because a lot of guys who lead with their money think that that money is the carrot, and once you stop nibbling at the carrot, then they take back their money. They take back all the access, and or they find someone else that they want to entertain and give their access to, and then yours just dries up. So yeah, guys who lead with their money, that's a big red flag anyway, and it reeks of insecurity. But there are some guys who, before I get to know you, before we get a chance to vibe on the third or fourth day, yeah, you're getting Starbucks. You might get a Groupon to a concert or something, because I don't want to. But I mean, think about it. If I took a woman out, if I dated, say, if I took 3 women out in a month, and we're going to dinner, and we might go shoot pool or go to a jazz cafe or something, that's $700-800 easy.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, $150-200 a date.
You take people on good dates. You got money.
No, because first of all,
I mean, you know, I've been married a long time. I've been married twice though, the first time. That's why I say I know about the person who just will spend money and it seems like it's fun. That was my first husband. He spent everything. We went out all the time. But then when we got married, he was spending everything. You know, it's just, and he was spending the bill money. So you have to, you know, be aware of that.
You do have to be aware of it. And I was just kidding about the money, the you got money thing, but I will say, and I've had this back and forth with my boyfriend a couple of times where I always say that sometimes men don't want to spend a lot of money on the first date. Totally understand. I mean, I don't think you should be spending $800 on a first date. But
at trying to get to know women, yeah,
trying to get to know the person. But I told him I feel that sometimes a man knows who to spend a lot of money on, so to speak. And then there might be that one person who's the nice girl who doesn't complain a lot. He's not going to spend a lot of money on her because he knows she's not going to complain. But then the woman that you say that, oh, she just wants me for my money, or she's
the gold digger
or whatever. You're spending money on that one. But the nice girl who's not complaining is getting the crumbs because you're putting all of the money toward the one who's saying, this is what I want. And so sometimes I think it's not fair. Am I looking at this? Am I looking at this fairly though?
No, oftentimes women who demand the most get the most. But also when a man is fed up with that woman, he doesn't even look back, because he said, I did all this, I spent all this, I gave her what she wanted, I still couldn't get her to act like I wanted her to act. So there is no circling back to her. But a woman who wasn't all that demanding, if they fall out, he might say, you know what, I could have tried harder. There was a lot that I left on the table, and there might be a second chance for that one.
If she's available.
Well,
because she might.
Unfortunately, too many of them are still available. That's the sad part. But I'm with you on that one, because I tell guys now who I hang out with, if they met a woman says, man, she does this, she's nice to me, she's kind, she's thoughtful, she's considerate, you know, we vibe and we talk on the phone for hours, she can cook, we go work out together, and I'm saying, well, why aren't you taking her off the market? Well, I don't know if I'm ready for all that, you know, and I'm trying to see these other women. And I tell those dudes every single time, when you get ready for her, she's gonna be smiling at somebody else and throwing rocks at you.
Somebody who's serious.
So, So
a lot of
what's
times, well, especially past a certain age, I'll use 30, but it could be before 30 for a woman. You know, there's not a lot of time to just be messing around with people who are not serious.
unfortunately,
Because you have a biological clock for one,
right?
and so men don't have to be as aware of that because men have more opportunities later in life to have children. Women, we have a finite window, and you don't want to be 45. I mean, people do it, but so you have to start thinking about that. Do you want to waste time with somebody who's not serious? And I know some women who waited, spent years and years and years on this dude, waiting for him. And then they break up, and then 6 months later, he's marrying somebody.
Okay. I spoke to a woman a month ago, 6 weeks ago. First of all, when the book first came out, she said, "Yeah, I heard about the book. Even though I've not been successful dating, I don't think the book's going to help me because it was written by a man, and I don't want some man telling me what to do." And there were two of her girlfriends there. They were like, "Well, you might want to listen to what the book's about." And I said, first of all, the book just asks you to consider moving differently. I'm not trying to change women, rebuild the way women think. I'm just suggesting that these things are important to men. These things that women can do attract more men, and high valued or high quality men, or men who are ready to be in relationships. And the book talks about that going through. It's a choice, it's a decision, it's a mindset. So we're talking to this woman with her two girlfriends for maybe an hour. And she softened up a little, but she said, "Just tell me something. Why the last three guys I've dated seriously, all within 6 months were engaged or married to someone else?" And I
Mm.
said, would you consider at all that the problem might be you? That the
Oh,
issue might be the way you handle them, and that they were looking for something that you didn't offer. I said, my thought process is, don't really know you, but you're probably a very good woman, has a lot of on the ball, but there was probably that one thing that they could not, there was a red flag that they could not overlook. And that one thing, no matter how great you were to them, pushed them away. And the next woman didn't have all the good stuff you had, but she didn't have that one thing. She didn't have that red flag. So they said, "I'll take it." And that's exactly what they do. They take the next one. And she said, "Yeah, but a couple of them are trying to circle back to me now. They're married." But I was like, well, they realized that maybe they could put up with that one thing.
Or they want you to be a side chick, which to me is abominable. But
Oh, that's yeah, every time. Yeah,
yeah.
would
yeah.
you say it's the 80-20 rule?
I think that's what people call it. It's what's funny to me because people will say, and I think there's a lot of truth in that. If she or he are giving you 80% of what you want, you need to deal with the 20% you're not getting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a 90-10 type dude because I'm exceptional. I make sure that I'm exceptional. I give. I'm thoughtful. I'm doing this. I'm doing more than any other guy's gonna do, and I know that going in. So if I can't get 90 from you, if I can't get Black Woman 2.0, if I can't get your best on a consistent basis, I don't want it. I don't want what you've been giving everybody else.
All right now.
Don't treat me like you treated those other dudes, because I'm gonna treat you better than those other dudes treated you.
And now,
Well, you're probably an exception, Victor, not the rule.
well, he
And,
said
and I
he
and I
is.
and I plan on carrying that torch every day.
Okay, and that's
Every
great.
day.
That's good, and it's good to know yourself.
Mhm.
I mean, let's look at somebody like Michael B. Jordan, who felt like he was doing all of that for Lori Harvey, and people called him a simp, and then they called him a simp again when they broke up.
Yeah.
So I think there are a lot of guys who are afraid of being that exceptional guy who wants to give more and accept more because they don't want to be called a simp in social media. And I think
Yeah.
social media has probably messed up a lot of relationships.
And Lori Harvey's messed up a lot of relationships. Because we don't know what went on. We don't know
Right.
what the relationship was like. On the screen and in public persona, he's a wonderful dude. Everybody says great things about him. But in looking on the outside looking in, it just looked like she wanted to continue dating, I guess, to see if she could upgrade. But if that was the case, to me, there's not much of an upgrade for Michael B. Jordan. That's
not
it.
much. Not that's
Yeah.
available. They have to be
Well,
available.
And there you go. And that's what people are saying. I have this guy. People are calling him a simp. Is he making you happy? Yes, he is. Is he doting on you? Does he look after you? Does he care about you? Yes.
But
So
he
you
doesn't have
think,
enough street in him.
well, okay. Well, here's the dude. Here's the deal. Dudes who have street in them, that's all they got.
Right.
Way too much street. So the other things that are required that they wish they had, they're not getting access to. So for the
Yeah.
women, and I saw this on a video, the women who are wanting an exceptional man, 6 feet tall with abs and, 6-figure income, who can write poetry and lift weights and he can fight and plays an instrument and speaks a foreign language. It's not too many. It's not too many of those dudes. And if they are, either they're already booed up or they got 20 women on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
the book,
I tell women, well, two things I tell women. Because sometimes women will ask, younger women, you know, if you got a list of 50 characteristics you're looking for, throw that list away. What you need to do is get the 3 non-negotiables, the 3 things you have to have. That you start there. You might add a few more things. But if you have that list of 50, you're gonna miss something that you really need to be paying attention to. You need the 3 non-negotiables. That's what you need. And whatever they're different to different people,
But Gwen, let me tell you how impactful and how wise what you just said is. When I got divorced after 20 years, I went to a counselor, a therapist friend of mine, and she says, "Do you have a list of things you want in your next mate?" Because I told her I'm getting married again. I'm not for these streets. Now I'm gonna find someone who's compatible with me that I can have fun with, and we're gonna have a good life together. And she said, "You have a list?" I said, "Yes, I do." She said, "Throw the list in the trash." And I said, "Why would I do that? Why would I do that?" She said, "Because usually when you're talking about all the stuff you want, there's enough people who will check most of those boxes. But just like you said, you need to have a deal breaker list. You need to have a red flag list.
Yeah.
If these 3 or 4 things are on that list, no matter what other 20, 25, 30 things, those 3 things, those 5 things are going to break us up and tear me down every time. So I'm glad you said it. It's in the book and it's worth it. When I tell women that, I've been holding on to my list for 25 years. Okay, now you
Yeah,
50.
that's why. That's why you're still single. That's why your list,
Yeah.
you got the long A list, and that's not what you need to do. The 3 thing, and you're right. Or you can have the 3 non-negotiables, which the 3 red flags is kind of similar.
It is.
But some things are a deal breaker, and a lot of times you don't know what the deal breaker is until you've been in a relationship with someone that had the deal breaker characteristics, and then like one for me, the deal breaker is a liar. If you're a liar, you're a liar. I can't trust you. I don't want to have anything to do with you, because if you lie to me once, you lie to me again. Just tell me the truth. I can deal with the truth. But if you lie to me, and that's in business, anything, I don't like liars because they can't be trusted. You
So
can't believe
ladies,
anything they say.
throw that wish list in the
Yeah,
trash.
yeah,
Throw it out.
yeah. Because I say you gotta have this. It's a fit like
Right.
30 things. You're never gonna find that. Unless you can create like a robot, you're not gonna find all of that in one
And the
person.
robot won't be as fun.
No, they won't be. They won't have swag. The robot
But now,
won't have
Victor,
swag.
now I did ask you
Okay.
about how women feel about these books written by men. Now, there's also the men who hate these books that are written by men because they think you're giving away all the game.
Oh, no, I've gotten that every week, every other week since this book came out. I can't believe you telling our secrets. I can't believe you sharing yada yada. I can't believe you giving up too much information. And I just tell them, bro, first of all, if you can't make it past this book, your game ain't tight anyway. And then I also told them that brothers need to be more real and more authentic. If you weren't running game, you wouldn't be concerned about this book. This book is not to say what guys are doing wrong. This book is 603 some odd rules that women could finesse the edges of what they're already doing. I'm not asking women to change. I'm not asking you even to be better. I'm just asking women to think a little differently. Because
Now,
there's rules. Go ahead.
what would you say the difference between your book and I don't know if you read Steve Harvey's book when it came out, 10 years ago, whatever long ago it was. What would you say some of the differences are between what you're talking about and what he discussed in his book.
What think like a woman, act like a man, or act
Mhm.
like a woman, think like a man?
Yeah. The
I
movie was based
Act
on
like
that.
a lady, think like a man.
yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
No, I think there's a lot of what I believe was in the book. I think you should take your time and vet each other. I think there should be a period before sex is involved to really get to know each other and see if you vibe in ways other than sexually. I don't agree that women should think like a man or anything like that, because when you bring that, what I call toxic masculinity in, then he can't be vulnerable because he's afraid that you're going to use what he does and says against him. So I don't agree with that at all. I think the premise is funny. I think there's a lot of truth in it. But I think the big difference in this book gives women not only rules, but guidelines. If you want these relationship goals, these are some of the guidelines I think you should consider. And there's a number of them. And like I said, I always say I'm here to help. There are some rules in here on our chapters on how to pick up men. P.S. How to pick up men at a wedding, how to pick up men at a dinner party, how to pick up men at a concert. Because a lot of women are just not good and aren't built to go up and approach men they don't know. And so what I do is give them rules, guidelines, and tips on how to do it. You say, oh, Gwen,
Yeah,
you said
that
you
was
want to
never
go?
me. My thing was always, if he doesn't approach me, we're not supposed to be together. Because I'm
Okay.
not gonna be approaching a man that's never,
Mhm.
never don't even know how to do it, don't want to know.
See,
And but I know times are different now, but I
Mhm.
still say, and I told my daughter this, the man for you will be unambiguous about him wanting you. It's not gonna be confusion.
What if he's
well,
afraid? What if he's
yeah,
afraid?
Unambiguous.
and that's what I was gonna say. Back in my club going days, I used to hate if I looked up and I kept seeing the same guy looking at me, but he wouldn't come over and talk to me. That would irritate me. I'm like, you're looking at me all night. Can you at least come over and say hi? Something.
He
And
might be
that's
shy.
it's still happening. It's still happening today. I see it every time I go to a lounge, cigar bar, whatever. I still see the same thing happening. So
Okay.
if women are saying or thinking the same way, if he doesn't approach me, it's not meant to be. Yeah, well, maybe he's just not that confident in meeting women who are attractive. Maybe he's not that confident in women who just take his breath away. So, Rhonda, I'm saying this not just for you, but for everybody else, Dr. Lawson, who's listening. If a guy's checking you out all night and he doesn't say anything, that's unfortunate. But what I suggest is smile at him. Tell him, come here and
Mhm.
see what happens. He's going to come, first of all. If he's been checking you out all night, you say, come here. He's gonna come with a smile, and you say, I really like your shirt, your hat, your shoes, whatever. This a place you come often? You don't even have to say you're gonna check me out all night and speak up Negro or what. The-
I'm at the point now, like I've been in my relationship going on 3 years.
Mhm.
And when I met him, I spoke to him first, but all I did was just sprinkle it and I left it alone. It was up to him to make the move after that. If he was interested, he was going to show me. I opened the door, but it was up to him to walk through it.
Okay, beautiful. And I'm glad you said it. Now it's 3 years later. Had you not spoke to him, you probably wouldn't even know who dude is. So my point is, and it's written, I think it's chapter 3, on because what you did was you picked him up, he just didn't know he was picked up. You
Mm.
initiated the introduction. And that's all I'm suggesting that women do. Smile, say hello. Say hello. Well, no, he didn't speak to me, so I didn't speak to him. Okay, so 20 years later, 30 years later, you still gonna do the same thing and expect a different outcome? They call that insanity. So,
Right.
but I'm 57 and I know there are women who in my generation who just don't do that. What I'm saying is nowadays, if you want to have some successful dating relationships, relationship goals, change the way you move a little bit. That's all. Just finesse the corners. You would be shocked at women who keep men in rotation and keep men in their face. They smile at men. They wave. How you doing?
Yeah,
Nice.
well,
Yeah,
I
like
smile, and I always smile, and I smile now, not trying to pick anybody up, but I'm just a happy person. So I'm a happy person. So
yeah.
I smile at everything. But I do not, I don't, that's not me. I know the rules have changed. I mean, well, the environment has changed. Let me say
Yes.
that. And men have changed.
Men have changed. A lot of men, I talked to some yesterday, don't feel like they have to approach women because there's so many available women.
Mhm.
So they'll look, and if they cross paths with someone, or someone introduces them, or if they happen to meet, walking in the outdoor at the same time, they might say, "Hey, hello, where are you going? I'm just getting here," and say something clever. All you have to do, women who want to meet more men, is find the guys that you want to meet and speak to them. And not be in your phone while you out all the time. Because to men, that says she's unapproachable, she's disinterested, and I'm going to get my face cracked if I walk over there. So don't be
Mhm.
on the phone the whole time. Don't be cackling with your girls the whole time, and leave at the end of the night and say, not one man spoke to me all night long. I got my hair done, my nails done. I bought this new outfit, and not one guy spoke to me all night, because you're talking to your girls and you're creating a circle around the table saying, men not allowed. We're having a good time. We're not interested. Find somebody that you're attracted to, smile at him, say hello. And if that doesn't work, tell him, come here. And,
Well,
and you,
I this is not my world as far as like the dating. But human nature being what it is, there's still some rules of human nature. And for ladies, also for those who want to get married and they're in a relationship with the guy, the scenario that I described before. Um, it's been my experience and observation that men don't take forever to know if they want to be with you in a committed relationship.
some men.
If the one that can't make up their mind, those are not, that's not what I'm talking about. But generally, if I've been married twice, both times my uh, husbands made their intentions known early. In fact, Willie, who you've met, I've been married 31 years. He said we were supposed to be married on the first date, and I thought he was nuts. So, and the other one, it was a month, 2 months at the most, a month or two. It wasn't. So it doesn't take 5 years if the dude.
No,
It doesn't take.
you clearly you have that effect on me. First of all, clearly you have that effect. But for women who don't
Okay.
have that effect on men, but you did say you smile a lot. A
I
woman who
do. I
a
do.
woman
I'm
who
a happy person.
smiles says, "I'm open. I'm prepared to engage. I'm prepared to be entertained," and that it says a lot. So women who smile a lot are always going to have guys in their face. Some women are like, "Well, I just don't feel comfortable being out, just feeling like that open." What men see is usually what y'all project. If you're not confident or you really don't want to be bothered, but you still got dressed up and got your hair and nails done and you still went out, what we see is she doesn't want to be bothered, so I'm not going to bother her. Or she looks high maintenance. I've heard that a lot. And sometimes you look high maintenance because you're so well put together and you don't give any men eye contact. If you give men eye contact and you're well put together, they're not going to say she's high maintenance. They're going to say she's a real deal. Let me see if I can go over here and introduce myself. And I see it all the time. So for women who have been in a relationship longer than they want to be, and he had popped the question, there's a chapter on how to nudge your man towards ring shopping. There's a whole chapter in it. There's a chapter about when to cut bait if your relationship goals are not being met. If he's dragging his feet, there's a chapter about breaking up ain't always easy. It's because sometimes you have to debate, is this a time for me to get out of the relationship? Is it time for me to break this off? Give him some space and see if he circles back or see if I move on. So, and then there's two chapters on maintaining the magic in marriage, how to continue dating your spouse. Some of the things that you've forgotten because you take for granted, not that it's wrong, just is. Some
Let
things
me
we
go
just,
ahead and order this book, Victor, because you playing. But I need my book signed, Victor. So I'm gonna have. Can I order it from your website and get it signed?
yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I'll be more than happy to ship it out this week. So I'm telling you, it's the funny thing is, for almost everything I could think of. And I asked my fiance, I said, these are the topics I want to put in this book that I'm writing. And she said, ooh, but what about, dating your guys who've been in your circle? And I said, well, this is my thought process. If a guy has dated someone in your girl circle, in your sister circle, you got
Oh,
to think
that
about
circle. Okay.
how long ago was it? Was it serious? Did they actually sleep together? Do they still care for each other? Whatever that is. All of those things go into it. But what should not go into it is he tried to talk to me 5 years ago. So he's off limits to you. He cannot be off limits to your girlfriend just because he tried to holler at you and you pass. When you pass, you've lost. Yeah, this girl code y'all got is y'all killing each other. So if I tried to talk to, hold on,
we're gonna have to be continued now.
Right.
We're gonna have to do a to be continued.
Okay.
Well, not necessarily, because we're waiting on our next guest.
Oh, well, let's go. Let's get
okay. Yeah. So my thing is, instead of saying he asked me out, or we talked on the phone 3-5 years ago, and so therefore he's off limits to you, he's disqualified from dating any woman I know. That's not fair. It's not fair, because he might be somebody else's soulmate, and you could say, oh, he's a good guy, we just didn't click. But most women won't do that. I don't know why you want to be protective of something you've never had. That's not fair. So what I suggest women do is, for all the guys that you haven't had sex with, you haven't had feelings for, y'all might have gone out once or twice and it didn't work, make a list and share that with your girlfriends. This is a good guy. He's cool. We just didn't click. And open up that territory to your girlfriends. You might have 5, 10, 15 guys on your list who might be perfect for your girl circle. That's all I'm suggesting women do. Instead of trying to hog tie guys that y'all, nothing ever happened, but he's off limits. That's not cool.
Yeah, that sounds like I don't know if you've seen When Harry Met Sally, where she had the index card file of people that were potential. This is before the net and smartphones and all that. But it was kind of like that. She was saying, okay, I have the perfect guy for you. And she had the index card file. And then she said, oh, he's already married, So then she turned the corner down on the card. She didn't throw the card out. She just put the corner down. So I guess he might still be available somewhere.
Yeah,
now you did kind of just drop that in there, kind of in a sly way, Victor, that you're engaged, and you just kind of slipped that in, and I that was, so you did meet someone after you got divorced. See, I didn't know you had been divorced. I didn't know all this had happened.
Yeah, I got divorced.
You met her a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, I got divorced 4 years ago. Met her a few years. Got divorced 4 years ago. Met Yvette, who I'm engaged to now. And we hit it off, but we went to Starbucks. We went to work out together. We went for walks. And for a lot of women, they would have said, "Nah, you cheat." No, this is my betting process. I need to see if we can really click before I start dropping $150, $200 per day. And
to
me, that makes sense.
Rhonda's known me.
I think it's about being creative, though. I mean,
yes.
I don't have a problem if you're taking me on a date that's not going to cost a lot of money, but it shouldn't be obvious that you're trying to be cheap. I mean, let's go to a museum. Don't take me to Burger King on the first day. You don't want to spend a lot of money. There are museums we can go on. We can go on a picnic. There are things that we can do that don't cost a lot of money, that you put some thought into it.
Yeah,
right.
We could go shoot. You could go shoot pool. You could go to putt golf, and you can really have a good time without spending a lot of money. But there were some women who said, "Oh, you want to meet at Starbucks? I'm not doing Starbucks." I said, "Okay." And then months later, they see me on trips on the beach with a well. Okay, so how you go from not calling me back to being on the beach with this woman? She went to Starbucks. She went to Starbucks, and we hit it off. Yeah.
So when I saw you, you were still married. I mean,
yeah, it was.
It's been 5 years or 6 years ago.
Yeah. As soon as I got divorced, I started praying for another one.
Amen.
Well, that's good, because a lot of people, when they go through divorce, they say marriage is not for me or whatever, And you know, it, when I went through my divorce, well, yeah, I just made a mistake. This is where I was married 4 years. I said this it was a if it was an epic fail from day one.
Mm.
The wedding was beautiful. The marriage was a disaster from day one.
Mm.
And it was a nightmare. So I said, okay, let me get out of this while I'm still young enough to find another husband. Because you know, some women make the mistake. They see the marriage is not going right. They get pregnant. They think that having a baby will fix it. No, no. Because if it's not working with the two of you by yourselves, it definitely is not going to improve bringing
Yeah.
another person into it. And it's not fair to the child or to either of you. So I said, let me cut my losses and let
Mhm.
me move on while still young enough to, but I knew what my three non-negotiables were after going through that. I knew what I had to have. And
Mm-hmm.
so um,
And you
You
I
know
have
what's
still
re-
thought it was going to be a while.
well, you have to weigh those options because maybe your non-negotiables don't have anything to do with finances, or maybe your non-negotiables don't have anything to do with love. Whatever it is,
Yeah.
just make sure it's something that you can live with.
Yeah, you want
Yeah,
to be
that's
a.
true.
I mean, there are a list of things. Mine were consideration, thoughtfulness, nurturing, and I forgot what the other one was. But I mean, it was simple stuff that I just overlooked because I took for granted that every Black woman had
Yes.
it.
Yeah, you can take a lot for granted in
Mhm.
people. You can assume things that people don't have,
Yeah,
that they don't possess, characteristics they don't possess. You can assume that they do. And then that's why you have to have mine were, he has to love God. Because if you love God, there's some things you're not going to do. I don't have to be with you for you to do the right thing. Two, he has to love me and want to take care of me. That's because if he doesn't love you, he's going to be mean to you. That's really what happens.
And you're not
And
gonna be.
three, he has to be responsible with money. Because my first one was the most irresponsible person I ever met.
yeah,
But both of y'all talking about your exes like you. I haven't mentioned my ex one time.
Well, I want people to know that you can have a bad marriage and still find love later and
that's
just
right.
learn from it.
No,
Yeah,
Learn
that's
from it.
true. I can't talk about my ex because his daughter's downstairs. So
Oh, well, you see, I didn't have any kids.
yeah.
I
You
said,
know,
let me cut
but
these ties completely. And
but Gwen, to your point, there are so many people that said you were married for over 20 years. Why are you getting married again? I said I deserve to have a healthy, fruitful relationship. In my last marriage, we saw 5 different marriage counselors and
uh,
trying to make it work, trying to make it fit, trying to massage it into, the square that we thought it should be in. And it
mm,
just never got to be what I needed to be or what she needed to be. So, I called the attorney after going through the last marriage counselor and said, I'm convinced that after, going through all this and praying on it, that it's never going to be what I want. I deserve to be happy. She deserves to be happy. And we're not going to be happy together. So I told people I'm gonna find somebody else. This it's not like it's so guys are like, so you got a list? No, I don't have a list. I don't have a list of women who like on
like
deck.
a little black book.
Oh, I know a lot of guys who are in marriages now that say if I get divorced, I got 20 of them on Facebook that I'm gonna holler at. So
ooh,
I said, no, I don't have that.
mm.
Mhm.
Okay. Now I do want to ask you because you mentioned that there's a part in your book or a chapter in your book, so
Uh-huh.
funny, where you talk about breaking up. And
Mhm.
sometimes a breakup happens not because somebody was mean or because somebody cheated. In your case, you said that you two just realized that you didn't need to be together anymore.
Right. We couldn't pull it together. No matter what we tried, no matter what advice, it just never it was not gonna be a good match. When people don't see eye to eye, when they are not aligned on important things,
Right.
no matter what you do, I mean, you could try a couple of weeks, month, and then you resort back to default mode. And if your default is that's not important to me, and mine is it's very important to me,
Mhm.
it's always going to break. And it just kept
How
breaking.
do you do that if nobody's necessarily done anything wrong? Because I mean, I've been guilty in the past of staying in a relationship, not because the person did something wrong. I'm like, well, how do I just bring it on them that I want to break up? He didn't do anything wrong. What do I tell them? I mean, and somebody's probably done the same thing to me. She may not have done anything wrong, but we don't need to be together. So how do you make that decision, and not hold on until things just go bad?
Well, sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes the love is not enough. The respect's not enough. The way y'all kiss and hug and touch is just not enough. So no one has to do anything wrong. It's just sometimes not enough to stay.
Right,
Well,
right.
Mhm.
I kudos to you for going to buy marriage counseling because a
Mhm.
lot of men
Yeah, you
won't
really tried.
do that. I hear.
I
I
told
never.
you I was exceptional.
Yeah.
He did.
I'm gonna
Okay.
do what it takes until it breaks. That's I'm gonna do what it takes till it breaks. That's who I am.
Well,
Mm,
the kudos because that shows commitment and integrity and things that are really good things that some people take for granted, or some women even see those things as weaknesses. Sometimes, you
Ooh,
know, the guy was too nice. I hear that
I've
from.
heard men say that about women too, though, that she was
Oh,
too nice, and I could break up with her. She's gonna take me back, and
oh
you know.
no, that's not nice. That's something
yeah.
else.
There's a lot of broken. There's a lot of brokenness out there, and I'll say it.
Yeah.
You said it earlier, Rhonda, that if you're a good guy and you do this to please your woman, look out for her, and this and that, they call you a simp. That's the unfortunate part because there's so many men and women that think, okay, he's going overboard for his woman. If you can't go overboard for your woman, who should you go overboard for? So
Amen.
you could so you could call me simp all day long, but I know one thing is my woman ain't going nowhere. I
Mm,
know that much. And yours is always looking over your shoulder at the next dude.
mm,
Some of them trying to holler at me, so I know it's the truth. Yeah. For and then Russell Wilson, people calling him a simp because he loves
yeah.
his wife and
No,
he loves
I
her
mean I
out
think it's
loud.
great. I think
I'm
it's
like,
great.
and there were some women calling him that. I'm like, okay, so y'all
Yeah.
used to these dogs, y'all used to thugs, y'all used to broken and bitter dudes. So you would never get a guy like Russell Wilson or Michael B. Jordan anyway. Because as soon as they got to know you, they'd be like, you got too much going on, you got too much baggage. And I'm not going to carry somebody else's baggage.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, if you call one woman told me, she said, I think you're too nice for me. I said, I would agree.
Wow.
Yeah. If you think
Wow.
that, I'm gonna co-sign. Yes. Because you're not gonna respect who I am, and I'm not for everybody.
And that
Because
makes a lot of sense.
I am a very thoughtful, kind, giving person, and that's not for everybody.
Some
I'm
people,
not.
some people don't know how to take it when somebody's really good to them,
Mhm.
and they do something nice for you, and you're like, why he being nice to me? What's he up to?
Take the win. Take the
Exactly.
win.
I agree. I agree
Take
with
the win.
that. I agree with that. When I was dating Willie, I needed a car. I never said I needed a car, but he knew I needed a car.
Mhm.
And Willie had two cars. He let me drive one of his cars, and he bought me a car. We were dating. We were not married. So and I didn't ask, but you know, that's the kind of gesture that really, gives somebody points for a long time. That's
Well, he saw a need and you filled it. But Gwen, you said something earlier, and then I think it was about the point that you just made. It doesn't take a guy 5, 10, 7 years or whatever to know if you're the one for him. It doesn't. If he's looking, when a man decides, and I've been saying this for 25, 20, 30 years, when a man is ready to settle down, if he's looking for a mate, can't nobody stop him, not even his mama. But if he's not ready, can't nobody make him, not even his mama.
Right.
That's it.
That's good
So
advice. I hope you have a chapter with that title because that
I
is
do.
true.
I do. I
What's
absolutely
that
do.
chapter called?
But yeah, because women are like, I've been with this dude so long and he's not
That's
talking
your
about marriage.
problem. That's what I said. That's
Yeah.
your problem. You're wasting your time. If you want to get married and he's not even talking about it, you can't drag somebody to the altar. You just can't. I mean, and if you do somewhat successfully think you are successful, he's not going to be committed to you because he doesn't want to do that. You
Not
don't
with
want to
you.
be
Not
with
with you.
somebody that doesn't want to be with you in a committed relationship.
Yeah.
You don't want it. You think you want him. If he doesn't want you, you need to move on. There's other people out there. There are people.
Mhm.
I don't care. And I know I hear about all this there's no people and
Yeah.
I don't. I always believe that if you have a positive attitude, there's somebody out there for you.
A
Because
lot of
people are
somebody.
looking for positive.
Yes.
There's so much negative.
Sometimes you also have to change your environment. That's something that I had to learn. When you're running into the same people or you
Yes.
feel like you're having the same results, maybe it's not because you're choosing wrong, but maybe you're just choosing from the same pond. You might have to go fishing in a different pond. So maybe you have to look at yourself, see what changes need to be made in yourself, and then change your environment. If you're used to going, yes, yes, it's in the book.
It's in the book.
If you need to go into the juke joint to meet guys, maybe you go to someplace that's a little bit more upscale if you want to meet a different guy. Don't keep going to the juke joint and expecting that great guy to just happen to walk in one day and notice you across the room. That's movies.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not very likely to happen. I mean, it's the dating games and with an S are so different than they were 20, 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
I found out when I got divorced that there were women that have now more game and gamesmanship than guys. I mean,
Mm.
it's like I'm trying to get to know you, and I'm telling you that we've gone out 4 or 5 times. Let's see what this is like. You know, if we especially if you get into the part where you're going to become intimate. So, you know, if we're going to be intimate, is this going to be exclusive, or do I just put you in a box with, you know, everybody else? Because I need to know that, because I'm not going to think, you know, we're exclusive and we're really not. You know, you're a community chick that you meet somebody, or your ex is circling back around whenever he gets ready. You still feel you have feelings for him, so he can sleep with you whenever he gets ready. I need to know that because I need to treat you accordingly. And
Right.
one woman said, well, you know, I do have this guy that, you know, he's kind of my go-to. And, you know, we have an understanding that unless we're really serious with somebody, that we connect every now and then. I said, okay, well, then I'm gonna let you have that, because I'm not trying to be with a woman who has a guy who comes through and her maintenance man or what have you until she falls in love with somebody. Because who's to say that stops?
Right.
You you can say it stops, but who's to say it stops? So, and she said, so what are you saying? I said, we're not going to be intimate. We're not getting down like that if you're not willing to basically clear your roster. You know, these guys who still have full access to you, you need to cut that off, or we need to stop. Or I could put you in a box with everybody else. And she was like, no, but I mean, I'm special. I want you to treat me like I'm special. Yeah, but you're not demanding the same. You're not allowing the same for me. So that's not going to happen. You know what? I can't even remember her name.
Mm.
I can't remember. I can't. That's how insignificant that turned out. I can't even remember her name. Yes.
Now, how do you feel about? This is what my daughter tells me. Now she has a boyfriend now, but she said so many, and my daughter's 27, so she's really in the thick of, the age where it's a
Mhm.
lot of dating and meeting people. And she said just so many men just lead with sex. They don't even really want to even get to know you. They just
Mhm.
lead with sex.
Yeah, unfortunately, not only young men are doing this, guys in their 50s and 60s are doing the same thing. And the only reason they're doing it is because there's so many women who are saying,
So
okay,
willing to do that.
willing participants, you know, and I call it panties on the floor. They're willing to throw their panties on the floor without really getting to know a guy. And, you know, and of course, I believe in body count, I believe in soul ties. So after you've done that so often, your name starts to get around, and guys are like, oh, yeah, she's easy. All you gotta do is take her out a couple of times, you know, tell her she's pretty, and you in. And so guys still talk. They're gonna tell you your business. So if women thinking sex ain't no big deal, and you know, But at the same time, I want a guy to treat me special. I want him to be kind and sweet to me. I want him to treat me differently than anyone else. But then stop sleeping around. You're not going to get it both ways. It just doesn't happen. No, what to say? No one wants to hoe for a housewife. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, but you know, there are women who say that it's not fair for people to say that when guys can have a roster, and they feel that women should be able to have a roster as well. But unfortunately, the rules are different. People see them differently.
And it is unfortunate, but I don't think guys should be having a number of women they sleep with either, unless they're telling this woman, hey, I got a couple of people I'm dealing with. I'm safe, I'm using protection, but there's a couple of women I'm dealing with. If a woman said that to me, I wouldn't have a problem with it unless or until we got serious. And I'm like, you know what? You it for me. I want to see where this goes one-on-one. I want to block everybody else. I want to see where this goes. And if she says no, then I have my answer. Or she says yes, but I can't catch up with her after 9 o'clock on Friday, or Wednesday afternoon. Yeah, it's like, okay, you off the grid. You're off the grid a lot. You're going black. You're going dark a lot. So what's up? Where are you really going? I was with my girlfriend, so you can't answer the phone, so you can't return a text. Okay, well, I'm gonna let you and your girlfriend and whatever whoever else you doing stuff with, I'm gonna let y'all have that. Because it goes back to what you said, Gwen. I can't trust you. I'm just with my friends, but okay, 6 hours and you don't return a text? No,
Right.
We can treat each other like that, but we can't be exclusive and treat each other like that. Because men who want a good relationship then we have standards. And likewise, I can't be turning my phone off. I can't go off the grid. I can't be missing,
Yeah, I give young women that advice too. It used to be this is before cell phones. I think pages were, but the rule was for me, and I learned this the hard way. If he doesn't give you all his numbers, now I don't know. You got social media in the mix too, but if he doesn't give you all his numbers, that means he doesn't want you to be able to reach him.
That's right.
That's just and if you don't hear from him like days on at a time, like for days, then he's in a relationship with somebody else.
Yeah,
he's just not into you. He's just not into you. One of those.
Yeah, he's got to check in. And I'll say this: my fiance, she put me up on something that I didn't get initially because I've been married so long and usually around only other married people. So this whole, these gamesmanship and the plan and all that stuff, I didn't know anything about all that. So when we would go out and I'd see couples kind of on a date, but she's into her phone or he's doing something, or he goes to get a drink at the bar and he's gone 20 minutes and he's flirting with other women at the bar, whatever. She would pick up on things because she's never been married. So she's been single her whole life. And she says she has a PhD in this kind of thing. and it is true because she has earned it. She'll say he doesn't like her. And I say, what do you mean? They're dating. They've been together for a long. He doesn't like her. Or she doesn't like him because of how she treats him. Mm-hmm. She doesn't like him because I can see how she moves around him. And he doesn't like her enough is what she was saying. And when she says it, 95, 98% of the time, she's right. He doesn't like her as he pretends. He doesn't like her as he should show and display. What you said earlier, right? He's just not that into you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He likes you enough to.
It happens. Not every relationship is going to culminate in marriage or something long term. Just sometimes you meet people. That's why you need to get to know people.
Yes.
First, because you all might hook up, but you don't have anything in common. And you might waste 6 months on this dude. Y'all don't have anything in common. You just kind of felt obligated because y'all slept together before you should have. And so these things happen. So, Victor, we've had you for a whole hour and it's been amazing.
Oh my goodness, already?
You need to show your book again.
Find your book.
So this has been really entertaining and educational.
Yes, I really appreciate you for having me on and for bringing Dr. Lawson with you. She's one of my favorites.
She's always with me.
Everybody needs to know that. So eventually we're gonna get together and we're gonna do something and it's gonna be big.
Awesome.
Okay, all right. I
Yep.
received that. And take care. Oh, do you have a date? Have you set a date yet for your
For
wedding?
marriage?
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. The 28th of this month.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So we're going to Jamaica and 100 of our closest friends.
Oh, that's
okay, you
nice.
have a destination wedding. Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, it is.
wonderful.
It's
Well,
taxing. She's doing a lot of work. I'm watching. Because that's what grooms do. Grooms do. We
yeah,
watch
it's
people do all
true.
the work.
It's
Right.
true. Mhm.
Yeah.
It's really
But
her
no,
day.
I'm
So,
doing my part.
Congratulations. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
congratulations. And thank you so much for sharing all of your experience and knowledge. I hope people who are listening get something out of it. And we're going to post the interview after the fact. So with some, hashtags so people can watch it and learn and be happy. Smile more. That's what they smile, smile. It works.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, Victor. Have a great evening.
All right. Thank you all. Take care.
I think I put your website in the chat. So everybody go ahead and click on that link and buy this book. And I'm getting my book this week, so I need my signed book so I can
Yes.
read up because I got them now. I need to keep them. So I'm taking
Yes.
your advice, all right?
There's a chapter in here for you.
Okay.
All right,
Okay,
y'all.
Victor.
Take care.
Okay, congratulations again.
Thank you.